Canon just confirmed through a tweet that the big announcement will take place on March the 26th. The image clearly shows a compact camera, an APS-C camera, and indications of a new VCM lens. Will we get the 20mm f1.4 L VCM, the PowerShot V1, and the EOS R50V? Well, I'll answer these questions in this video, but first I have a simple and yet humble request. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps this channel grow, and it keeps you informed on all the latest camera gear. Canon released this video on X today. It clearly shows a compact camera with a lens, and we can make out certain information, stating that it's a zoom lens from 8.2 to 25.6 millimeters. It's f2.8 to 4.5. And on the right side, we have an APS-C camera without any lens or camera markings whatsoever. And then, of course, right in the middle, underneath the date, we have the letter V, which represents the Canon RF 20mm f1.4 luxury VCM lens. And let's give credit where credit's due. Canon rumors got the date right, and they got most of everything that's being announced at the date correct. Now, to be fair, one of the other cameras that they announced, the EOS RV, was initially planned for this event, but things changed, so I'm not going to hold that against them. So we now know, confirmed, that we're getting the PowerShot V1, the EOS R50V, and the 20mm f1.4 L series VCM. So what about the specifications for the camera, since we know everything about the lens? Oh, and the price, let me cover that just briefly before we go into the specifications of the cameras. Canon Rumors hasn't told us the price at this point, but they did say it's going to be more than, well, the previous lenses in the VCM series. So with the highest price one being about $14.99, we think on a low side it's going to be $15.99, and at a very high side it would be $17.99. So now let's go over and take care of the specifications for the PowerShot V1 and the EOS R50V. The EOS R50V will be priced around $650, come with a 15 to 30mm, and it's going to be aimed at vloggers, video streaming, and also recording. The EOS R50V is aimed at the vlogging market, made popular by Sony with their multitude of vlogging cameras. But unfortunately, we don't have any specifications outside of that for the EOS R50V. But for the PowerShot V1, well, we have an awful lot. Now, this camera is getting an all-new design sensor with a resolution of 22 megapixels and a continuous shooting speed of up to 30 frames per second. Now, don't get too excited. I know the Canon EOS R5 can do that as well, but it's got a much bigger buffer. It's going to be able to shoot for a whole lot longer. We don't know how long you're going to be able to get, but to give you an idea, I think the EOS R10, it can do 30 frames per second. The EOS R50 can do up to 23 frames per second, but in electronic, you're basically going to fill the buffer within a second. But still, if you're shooting water skiing or sports or any other stuff like that, it's going to be really good. Just don't hold down the shutter button for a second, maybe a third of a second, a fifth of a second, because you don't want to get home and you have like thousands upon thousands of photos. The first time I ever worked with 20 frames per second and I got back, I was shooting with my 100mm macro, and boy oh boy did I have thousands of photos to go through. So what about the lens? Well, the kit lens is going to be a 16 to 50mm f2.8 to 4.5, and we are told that it's going to have ND filters. I would assume these are going to be electronic, and they're going to be rated at 3 EV. And for video specs, the PowerShot V1 is capable of 4K video, oversampled 4K video at 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. So that's without a crop. And that's really good. And it's not using that contrast detect depth from defocus autofocus system. I can't believe Canon did that in the past, but this camera is free of that. Now, the other resolutions, it does actually go up to 4K 60 frames per second. But, and keep in mind, this is $650. Or, I don't have the price for this one yet. The $650 was for the EOS R50V, so I don't have a price here. But going over the video specifications, 4K up to 60 frames per second. However, there's a 1.4 times crop. Now, I know there's a crop, but what you want to pay attention to is the crop factor. And what this tells you is that this camera, this new compact camera, is getting an all-new design sensor. It's not Canon's traditional APS-C sensor, which is 1.6 times. It's not a Super 35, which is 1.5. So it's a larger sensor, which means it should be able to do better in low light conditions. So 4K up to 60 frames per second, that's 50, 60, and of course the basic frame rates up to 60 frames per second. Now that oversample rate I told you about, 4K up to 30 frames per second, that's from 5.7K. So 22 megapixels works, yeah, let's go with megapixels. That works out to about 5.7K. So that's all downsampled. You're going to get a better image. I mean, this sounds like it's going to be able to do better video than the Canon EOS R10, which was released several years ago. Now, there's no mention if they're going to include any log curves or what other video codecs are going to be provided. But this camera is aimed at vlogging. It's aimed at streaming, and not just streaming, but wireless streaming. That's something that interests me. I mean, I probably could do that with my R5 Mark II. I've never even bothered to check if it's capable, but I have a whole bunch of wires upstairs and it's a little bit crazy whenever I do a live stream. So again, wireless streaming, it's aimed at vlogging. It's taking a shot directly at that Sony market with a ZV-E10 and a whole bunch of other vlogging cameras, very similar specifications, but at different price points, all the way up from $500 up to around $2,000. Sony really has that space populated, and what Canon's attempting to do here is to really penetrate that and leapfrog the competition. And the EOS RV, which was also supposed to be announced at this event, well, it's going to be announced, but it's coming later. So have I missed any specifications here? I've covered off the video specifications. Yep, that looks good. Oh, there is one other thing. Canon is going to be providing an optional fan. That's right, it gets an optional fan, which is helpful for extended recording sessions or streaming sessions. And it gets that new multifunction hot shoe that debuted with the Canon EOS R3 that's also in the R5 Mark II and the R1. And of course, it's going to have a flippy screen. They're not going to do what they did with the R100. They're going to give this thing a flippy screen. So that's all good news. So those are all the specifications we have up to this point. And once again, the announcement is taking place on March the 26th. And once we know the exact date and time, we're going to schedule a live stream where we're going to have our expert panel and we're going to cover off the event. We're going to start 1 hour before the event. So let's assume here, and I don't have any information, but based on what Canon's done before, we're going to assume that the announcement is going to take place based on Eastern time at midnight on the 26th. And what that means is that's essentially Tuesday ticking over into Wednesday. So if we do our live stream 1 hour before that, that will be 11 p.m. on March the 25th. So I'm waiting for confirmation. We're going to have our expert panel, and we're going to do what we always do with these announcements. We're going to look at all the latest leak specifications, pricing. By then I should have US retail pricing on everything being announced, including the lens. And we'll talk about who these cameras are for, how they compare against the Sony cameras, how they compare against previous Canon cameras. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cover the announcement live. And what we expect is as soon as the embargo is lifted, which should happen as soon as the announcement begins, which we think will be midnight, then you'll be able to pre-order. And I would, that's why we have the smart pre-order links down below, these guys right here for Adorama and B&H. We are expecting this camera to sell very, very well. It's going to sell out quickly. We're expecting the same model that we saw with the Fujifilm X100V. That camera got everybody by attention, worldwide, domestic, YouTube channels, everybody. We were completely shocked and not ready for the amount of demand for that camera. And also the Ricoh GR3 has also done well too. So based on what we're seeing with the specifications, we're expecting that this is going to be a big deal. And the fact that Canon has teased the event, not just put out a scheduled YouTube announcement, but full on teased is they think this is a big idea. The last time that Canon teased about any major camera coming out was the Canon EOS R5 Mark II and the R1, and that was back in early July. And before that, okay, the R1 back around May, but I don't remember the last time. Actually, hold on. I believe we had some teasing for Halloween when we got the announcement of the 200 to 800 millimeter about a year ago. So it doesn't happen very often. So what that tells us is Canon is really excited about this 20 millimeter f1.4 L series VCM. Oh, actually, you didn't see that. Never mind. I'm so excited. I'm really excited by this announcement. I've been shooting with the Canon EOS or Canon RF 50mm f1.4 for many months now, since I got it mid-December, and it's my new favorite lens. I love it. I like it better than the 50mm f1.2. I really do. I'm not trying to get you to sell it. I don't have any stock in Canon. Yes, the 1.2 still offers some benefits over the 1.4, but when I look at the capabilities that I need, the 1.4 gets many more checkboxes than the 1.2. And when it comes to that minimal focus distance, that is one thing that really bothered me about the 1.2. It was, so often I'd grab my camera, let's pick this one here, and I would, yes, there would be a lens on here, of course. I'd go up and I'd go in, and it's like, nope, I have to back off. It's too blurry. Always doing product shots on this channel. I'm constantly using the 50mm f1.2, the 100mm f2.8 macro, and the 50mm f1.2 is always irritating me because I can't get close enough. And yes, I know the macro can, but there's something about that 1.2 that I really like. The depth of field, the bokeh, it is really great for product shots. But because of that minimal focus distance, I'm finding that the f1.4 is better. Should I sell the f1.2? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. However, one thing you should be aware of, if you're looking to buy some of these VCM lenses, one of them is on sale right now. And that's the 35mm f1.4, and it's $100 off for a limited time. Hold on a minute here. I just got some information has come through here, guys. Ooh, Fuji. Something about an announcement tomorrow. I need to get this out there. It's still coming in right now. Very interesting. But what I should do is close off this video. What I want to say is thank you to everybody that's tuned in, watched to the end. And for those of you looking at purchasing or pre-ordering the PowerShot V1, the EOS R50V, or the RF 20mm f1.4 VCM, please consider using my affiliate links down below. You're literally helping to support this channel. This channel is viewer supported. I don't do any sponsorships. I get anywhere from 2 to 5% back, which helps keep the lights on. So a big thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon. I wonder what else. Did they say anything else? Probably by the time you're watching this video, this information will already be out. So it's safe to tell you. The Fuji announcement tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Busy time, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Cheers. Bye-bye.